Good morning. Good new week. I hope you've had an amazing weekend. Um, Today's question is, why do you do what you do? And I've asked this question before, and I think it's an important one, so I want to spend some time on it. Um, I was meeting with my friend Nicholas yesterday, and we talked about we were supposed to do the live show on Facebook, which we ended up not doing because I wasn't feeling at my best, and well, yeah, there were some circumstances that made us not do it, or made me make the call not to do it, and we ended up talking instead, just having coffee at my place, and well, we've been working together for almost 2 years now, to and from. Uh, and right now we're in the process, or I'm in the process of starting something new, which is he's gonna be a part of and is being a part of, and we're designing both the Fuck Yeah Let's Do It workshop, but also something else. And so we've been talking a lot about these questions of what are we doing, why are we doing it, how are we gonna go about things, all these kinds of questions, and so yesterday we ended up spending a lot of time on why, how, what, and I still think that it's really important to start with the why, and I haven't read the book on from Simon Sinek yet, but I've been familiar with the idea of the why, how, what model for quite some time, and I've been thinking from the beginning really that the why is the most important part to start with, and I think that's because there's a shelter there, and there's a base to stand on. If you know why you're doing something, you can always come back to that, as well as if you have a strong why, the what and how might not matter as much. You might vary the what and the how, but if the why stays intact, you still have a direction to go. And I think that a lot of people have lost their, or not found their whys, really. And I think that has a lot to do with which we talked about on the Art of Hosting training, or not we. One of the hosts talked about during the Art of Hosting training that we're not used to stories anymore. We used to have common stories and common whys within those stories. Christianity has a strong why. Islam has a strong why. Some nations have a strong why. But I think a lot of individuals have lost both the collective why and the individual why. And that's where things go really, really wrong. Because if you don't have either of them, you don't have any general direction to go in. I think that as a society, on a society level, if we would have had a why, it would have been easier for the individuals to see where they fit in and to contribute to that why. But we really don't have one. We don't have a story to tell. We don't have a plan on which story we want to tell in society. Some groups have. But I think that there's a big problem there, not knowing what story you want to tell. And I also think that a lot of people know what stories they don't want to tell, which to me is even worse, when you know what story you don't want to tell but not the story you want to tell, because that's when you start criticizing everything else, but you're not coming up with anything with yourself, or you're not contributing to the conversation. And that's a really negative standpoint to come from, which is, I mean, it's natural. I understand why it's happening, but I still think it's really strange that we haven't started talking about these things, or from the story perspective. I've heard Yuval Noah Harari speaking of this as well. The what's it called, author of Homo sapiens, and he's talking about how stories are the way we comprehend the world, and that all of these made up things, I mean, companies aren't real, they're telling a story, and we've been told a story about how our society is supposed to work, and there's just no why in there anymore. And he's being, I can recommend, just type in Yuval Noah Harari in the podcast app, and you'll find loads of good material if you don't want to read the book, or have read the book but want to visit it back. And on an individual level, I think the why is really important in order for you to have something to guide you in what you want to do. Because if you don't have a why, you don't have a what. You can try a lot of different whats and hows, but if you're not finding a why, you're not gonna stick with it, or you're not gonna enjoy it as much. At least that's what I think. Because again, it comes down to stories. What story do you want to tell? Question of today, I didn't remember which one I asked in the beginning, but I want to end with, what story do you want to tell with your life and with your time here?